2, 3. Okay, what's going on, YouTube? PNG News Media back here again with another interview. Today, you're in for a real treat. I got a fellow YouTuber whose channel is blowing up. OG Silverback is going to be joining us for the next hour, talking about his life, pre and post being incarcerated. So OG, so why don't you just give a little brief introduction to yourself?
All right, my man. Hey, PNG, thanks for having me on the channel. I appreciate it, man. I've been looking at your content. You got some positive content. I'm glad to be able to contribute. So my name is OG Silverback, man. That's a nomiker I use that my associates have given me because basically I'm a pretty savage guy. I'm in counseling right now, but I'm in touch with my inner animals. So they gave me the OG Silverback nomiker, and I like this, so I just stuck with it, man. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, that's what they call me, man.
All right. So where you from? I mean, where's your background? Where'd you grow up and stuff like that?
Originally, I'm from Puerto Rico, man. I grew up there until I was about 5 years old, and then my parents decided to move to the United States so we can have a better life, you know. And I'm not sure if you're from Chicago, you know about Puerto Ricans. Normally, when Puerto Ricans come here, the first place we hit is New York City. That's why New York's like little Puerto Rico. And I got people in Chicago and Detroit, man, and also Florida. So we came to New York, man, and living there, man, it was really a culture shock, man. I don't know if you ever been to New York. It reminds me of Chicago, like with the Four Seasons. And dude, when we hit there in the wintertime, man, it was just crazy, man. The snow and just the aggression and the crowdedness, bro. So yeah, I grew up in New York, and then my parents, I'm sure you've traveled a lot, but my mom is West Indian, man. And so what happens is when we get here, my mom wanted to become more independent, you know, like she saw American women working and going outside the house and stuff. And my dad was old school Latino. He's like, nah. So my parents divorced, man. And so then I lived during the school years back east. I was living in Philadelphia. And then in the summer, I would go back to New York with my dad. So I was back and forth between Philadelphia and New York after, of course, bouncing around the Detroit and Chicago because my mom was trying to find a West Indian community while we was on welfare, you know what I mean? So yeah, I pretty much grew up back east, man. I remember it was in the wintertime, and I was at my dad's place in New York, in Harlem, and we was watching TV, right, PNG, and so it was in the wintertime, like, you know, January, right? Just snowing, the hawk, right, the blizzard. And we was watching TV, they had the Sun-Kiss commercial, my man, I'll never forget it. And they had these tall white women in bikinis on the beach hitting the volleyball in slow motion, and they drinking Sun-Kiss orange. And I told my dad, it's like, hey, is that true? He goes, son, it never snows in California. And I said, man, when I grow up, man, I'm going to California, man. And so, you know, just my dad unfortunately went to prison, man. And then while he was gone, I got caught up in the street life, you know, just being a gangster and all that stuff, and in and out of YA. And in YA, I really learned bodybuilding, so I got pretty buffed up. So when I came out of YA, I think I was like 15, 16, start playing sports. And I wanted to go to the NFL. So I was running up the middle one day, got my leg broke, lost all my scholarships. So then my uncles was like, oh, you like to fight and kill stuff, you should join the military. So I ended up joining the military. That's how I came to California, PNG. That's how I came out here, man.
All right. So when you was in the YA, tell me about your YA experiences. Because I know in California, like everything, their system like is really segregated. So by you being kind of what people may say racially ambiguous, you look like you could be an African American, you look like you can be, you know, like I said, Puerto Rican or West Indian. What was YA like for you?
Well, that's really interesting because, and this is just from memory, you know what I mean, PNG. I don't want to misrepresent, but I'm telling you the best as I can recollect. But when I was going to YA back east, man, like back east when I was growing up, I grew up in Harlem, man. So you got Harlem, which is all African Americans. Then you got Spanish Harlem right next to it. It bleeds over. That's all the Puerto Ricans. And then you got like the white people living in a different area. And there's different kind of white people. You got like Italian white people. They don't really consider themselves white. Then you got like normal white dudes, right? Then you got like Asian dudes and Russian dudes. It's all like segregated like that. So then when you went back east, when I was in Philadelphia, that's where I went to the YA in Pennsylvania. You know, it was like, it wasn't like California prisons where, you know, the whites ran with the whites and the blacks ran with the blacks and the Puerto Ricans ran with the Puerto Ricans. It was just all basically, it's where you're from. It's neighborhood based. They based
okay.
it based on your neighborhood. So if you had some white dudes from a specific neighborhood, they clicked together, but it wasn't like the whites, because sometimes the whites would be against each other too. And you could see this on Fresh Out. There was this one dude from Boston, I forget his name, but he's a beast mode dude. And he was explaining like the way I grew up. He grew up the same way. So it depends. But it wasn't like in California where it's not racially separated. No, it's based on your neighborhood. And this is what's interesting. I'm glad you asked me that, because I made some very controversial videos talking about my experience in YA. When I first went to YA, I was 14 PNG, and I had sickle cell anemia because of my West Indian heritage. That's a blood disorder where I don't process the nutrients. I was a little runt dude, right? And I worked out with my brothers and cousins, but I never got big and I never got tall. I was always going to the hospital. They're like, oh, he's just going to be a little runt. But when I got to YA with the violence and stuff, and so I was 14, I got there. I had older homies there, because back east in YA, you could be there till you're 21. Like once you hit 21, they let you out. Or if you're not rehabilitated, you go to state prison, right? But then you got dudes from 14 to 20 in YA. So I'm going there 14 my first time. Well, I have been in and out of juvenile hall, which is different. But when I get to YA, got older homies there from my neighborhood that, we robbing places and shoplifting and just jacking people. And then when we get to YA, people change up on you, homie. You see who your real friends are, because in prison, it's different than on the street. You know what I'm saying? On the street, I got a bunch of cousins and uncles and brothers. But I'm in YA, by myself, with my older homies, and they're older than me. Then I kind of got to see, man, it's every man for himself, my man.
Okay. All right. So you leave YA, then so you eventually get to the military. Now, what's your experience like in the military? Because I know the military is really structured. You got rules for everything you do. So coming from running the streets, being in YA, how much of a culture shock was that for you?
Hey, that's a good question, PNG, because actually I almost didn't make it in the military several times because I was from the hood. And during my formative years, my dad went to prison when I was 7, and he didn't come out till I was 14. So that's like, when you're going through puberty, like you're growing up. So I formulated, and I'm nothing against my mom. She did a great job as a single mom, but a single mom can't raise a man, homie. I mean, I'm not trying to make this a political thing, because they're too emotional. So I'm just modeling myself after my mom. I'm emotional and all that, doing what the fuck I want. And then, man, when you get to the military, dude, it's really structured, very disciplined. You will comply. You will. You don't question authority. And so back when I was in the military, for all of you youngsters who are in the military now, it was different. Like the drill sergeants would dig your ass out, man. Like they would swole dudes. I don't care if they black, white, whatever. No, they've been in the military 10, 20, 15 years. They swole. Old school. If you don't want to follow orders, soldier, they whoop your ass. So I remember one time I was in basic, man, and I forgot what I did, man. Like I wasn't following instruction, and the drill sergeant was talking shit. And I've been doing martial arts since I was 5, my man. And so he was talking shit. I was like, man, fuck you, man. And so they said, oh, fuck me, fuck you. We can go in the back. So the 3 drill sergeants took me out of formation, took me in the back.
Okay.
They didn't know I had hands, bro. I whooped dude's ass, right? Whooped his ass. Then the other drill sergeant jumped on me, whatever. And then one drill sergeant wanted to kick me out of the military because I whooped his ass. But then the other 2 drill sergeants was like, nah, man. You know what I mean? Dude, it was fair and square. So then I got disciplined, right? Like I had to do extra duty, whatever. But then I knew, oh, you got to follow. I'm just letting you know, you got to follow the rules, because I didn't want to go back to the street, homie. I joined the military to get away from the hood, homie. You from Chicago, man. It's like, it's impoverished, man. It's nothing but bleakness. So I joined the military. So after that first fight, I learned that I had to follow the narrative. So I started getting more disciplined. Had another drill sergeant, a brother from Missouri. He was a really cool dude. He was like, hey, my man, in here, you know, he said to be a leader, you first got to be a follower, my man. I see you got a lot of fire, but to be successful here, you got to follow instruction, my man. And he just took me under his wing, and he taught me to follow the rules, go to all the schools, go to the trainings to work out. And I kind of got with the program. So I became a very disciplined, and I don't like to use this word, but I became a very disciplined killing machine, because I figured, okay, if I'm being in the military, because just so you know, in the military, it's a lot of different jobs. You got truck drivers, you got supply dudes, you got clerks, you got medics, you got cooks. I figured, well, since I went in there 11B, which is a foot soldier, Then I start seeing all these other dudes was like Green Beret, Special Forces, Airborne Ranger, Recon. I was like, oh, so I asked my drill sergeant homie, and he was like, yeah, man, this is the path you want to be if you want to be a real warrior. So that's how it started me going into the whole, Airborne Ranger, Special Forces thing, because I wanted to, I figured if you're going to do it, like be the ultimate dude, right? Like be the ultimate, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're going to be a bodybuilder, be Mr. Olympia, right?
Right, exactly.
So anyway, it was a hard transition, and being that I almost got kicked out, I didn't want to go back to the hood. So I disciplined myself because this was my opportunity. This was my ticket to the NBA. You know how you get drafted? So this is my ticket to change my life. So I just kind of got with the program. I got very, very disciplined, PNG. I got very disciplined.
All right. So you're in the military, you're straightening up your life, getting with the program, becoming a real soldier, so to speak. So when did things start to, like the trouble started, when things start to spiral out of control, or for lack of a better term?
Well, I really like the way you ask your questions, man. You're a very intelligent guy. You remind me of like a philosopher, and I appreciate that, homie. You're a heavy young cat, man. I wish I was heavy like that when I was your age, but I want to be honest with you, man. So even though I want to break this down even though I got with the discipline program to follow my sergeants and my commander's orders, I was still a loose cannon. So a dude that's my same rank in military, and this is my experience for the rest of you military cats. I salute you for your service. But when I was in, it was like the Wild Wild West. Let me tell you something, PNG. They had dudes from Chicago, Detroit. I don't know if you've ever been to Detroit. They got some hood there. Virginia, Alabama. They had dudes from LA, Crips, Bloods. The military is a crazy place. You got a lot of alpha males, right? So let's just say I'm in company A and you're in company B, right? A company is just a large amount of dudes. You can have like 200 dudes in a company, and then it comes down to squadrons to platoons, right? So if I remember correctly, a platoon is like 15 dudes, like 20 dudes. So you like brothers. So, man, we all working out together, doing martial arts together, all that kind of stuff, banging girls together. But when you're on base, man, it's like a small city. It's like a city within a city. So let's say we in company A, and then we in the platoon, and you're in company B and you're in platoon. We just hanging out. Maybe it's like 10 of us hanging out. So we walking down the street, and one of your platoon guys bumping into one of my platoon guys. There's a lot of testosterone, whatever. Dude, I was always in fights. Always in fights, bro, because it was like, I'm not saying it was legal, but the military, man, they encouraged aggressive behavior. So even though when my sergeant told me, hey, soldier, go there, or my lieutenant or my captain, I followed that. But when it come to a dude my same rank, he disrespect. I was always fighting. And I want to share this with you because I had some issues that I needed to address. So I was always fighting, always locked up with the MPs. But when you get locked up on base because you're military property, you get these dog tags. It's not a criminal record, my man. As long as like you ain't killed nobody, but you can fight and stuff, even though there's murders on base. You get locked up by the MP, the first sergeant come get you out. What happened? Oh, me, platoon A, we was walking and we seen platoon B, and PNG bumped into me disrespectfully, sergeant. And I told him, check yourself, soldier. He ain't want, so I whooped his ass. Did you win, soldier? Yes, I did, sergeant. I represented platoon A. Right on, soldier. Hey, let this soldier out. Hey, soldier, you got an extra duty just because you're on the police blotter, but right on, soldier. And matter of fact, you got all that energy, go to combat leadership development, primary leadership development, and learn how to control that shit. So I was always like getting in fights and stuff like that. And the reason I bring that up to you is because no matter where I went, whether it was Korea or Germany or Panama, going on these, they call them excursions, bro. I always was overly aggressive, man, doing what I do. That's why I got dropped out of the special forces, because I engaged before I was told to engage. Because I'm just aggressive. So I got dropped out of that. I became a combat medic, right? And I was still getting in trouble, man, but I learned how to kind of control it. And the reason I'm telling you that, when I finally came to California, I had some homies that was bouncers, man, because back when I was in the military, you was only getting like, I don't want to exaggerate, maybe $500 or $800 a month. I'm just telling you, that's how it was. Yeah, but then my homies was like, hey, man, we could be bouncers because we know martial arts, we big dudes, so we became bouncers in nightclubs, and they was paying us about maybe between $100 and $200 a week, bro. You know what I mean? Cash money. So I'm like, okay, and you get to beat dudes up. So then from there, my homies was like, hey, man, we should get into this bodyguarding thing. So I became a bodyguard. And you got to get this thing called a CCW in California. I remember, I ain't had no felonies, homie. A CCW is a concealed carry weapon. Like you can legally carry a weapon because you're a bodyguard, right? And so that's how, when you see on my channel, I shot a couple of dudes, people be like, oh man, if you shot him, man, you've been locked up and all that. No, I was in the military, dude. I had a CCW bodyguard, man. The situations went down, dudes was trying to cost me. I shot them. I mean, when you go to court, homie, they be looking at the whole factor. Oh, this dude's in the military. He's a bodyguard, whatever. This dude trying to rob him. This dude's a drug dealer or a jacker. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm not saying the laws are fair, homie. I'm just saying when you're on the right side of the law, that's what I tell everybody, PNG. When you're on the right side of the law, you can get away with a lot of stuff that a dude is on the bad side of the law can't get away with. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I got into trouble, man. So what happened was I had been to Grenada. I saw some of my homies lose their life. I've been to Panama, bro. I've been to Korea. And then Kuwait happened. And, bro, this is the whole problem, PNG. I had 3 months left in the military, homie. I was already a bouncer. I was selling real estate. I had a hot girlfriend, dude. She took me to college, had real estate, bro. I was getting into the movies. Like, I had some homies that was, like, actors and stuff. I'm not saying I was going to be Brad Pitt, but they was like, oh, you can be an extra. Because in California, you can be an extra. You just sitting there. Let's say you Brad Pitt, you just walked past me. I'm getting paid even though I ain't saying nothing, right? So I had all this stuff. I was bodybuilding, homie. And I got 3 months left, and then fucking Kuwait happens, homie. And then they telling me, oh, you got all this training. You're a combat medic, you know, former dropout special forces, former airborne ranger. You've been all this combat leadership shit. You going? That's like, no. Send the young dudes. They said, listen to me, soldier. You're going to go over there and show the young dudes what's popping because you've been there. And I'm being honest with you, PNG. I'm just being honest, man. Hey, bro, once you've been to combat, man, this ain't no movie. Hey, man, I'm a pretty awesome dude, but there's dudes awesomer than me, but I'm not Superman. So if you go to training, let's say it's me and you and Bob, and I'm just making this up, homie. Say, you know, I've trained you how to use weapons, so you know I'm better trained than you, and Bob's better trained than you, and you go to combat, you see me get my dome peeled off, man. With a fucking anti-tank when my whole dome's gone, then you see Bob get blowed up and you make it back. Dude, in your mind, you're knowing, fuck, it's all chance and happenstance. It could have been me. But my homie OG, who taught me how to use it, he's gone. And my homie Bob, he's gone. They was better soldiers than me. I came back, the Lord bless me, right? So it's like Russian roulette. Why are you going to play it again? You already came back, you got your medals, and now the military's telling you, oh, well, you got combat experience. you got to go back over. You only got 3 months left. So what happened? They put us on red alert, and everybody. I wasn't even drinking or smoking back then. Dudes was drinking back then in the military. Motherfuckers was on drugs and shit. That was on them. We was drinking hard liquor, smoking weed, and then my platoon sergeant goes, "Hey man," and no disrespect, I don't believe this anymore. I'm just sharing with you. He goes, "Hey man, we got to get amped up to kill them turbid head motherfuckers because they don't believe, you know, they believe they're going to have 100 virgins. They're going to have bombs on them. We're going to be amped up. Let's get some crack." And then I was like, no, it's like, I heard crack's bad for you because I've heard about basketball players back when I was in the 80s. Professional basketball players would smoke crack and die. It was called a chest buster. And I was like, nah, man, crack's bad. He said, nah, man, we just going to do a little bit just to get amped up. So when we on the plane, we get off, we're just going to be mowing them down. And he's my platoon sergeant. So I'm like, all right. So dude, remember, it was 10 of us. We smoked the crack. I didn't know I had an addictive personality. So when I beamed up, homie, like when you smoke crack, it beams you up. Hey, bro, I didn't want to come down, and I just became a crack monster. So prior to getting deployed, they give you a urinalysis because Nancy Reagan was like, no, say no to drugs. We all came up positive for crack cocaine. They put us in this drug rehabilitation program for a week till we get deployed. Well, me and my 3 homies snuck off base to get some more crack, man. Ended up shooting a dude, homie, come back on base, you know me, because we running fast, you know, come back on base after we missed the curfew. And people like, hey, what you soldiers doing out there? Oh, we went to get some milk. They said, pull over here. And we had the crack in the car and we had the fucking guns and shit. And then they kicked me out of the military, homie. So that's how the whole fucking thing started, my man.
Okay. Just want to back up a little bit. So when you went to California, was it like that commercial when you first set foot in California? Was it like the commercial you saw when you were a kid? What was it like
I'm
for you?
gonna be honest with you, man. When I first got to California, man, they had me at the Presidio San Francisco because the type of special forces dude I wanted to be like when you're in special forces, it's a team. You got 2 communications dudes, you got 2 weapons dudes, and then you got the 2 medic dudes, and then you got the recon dude, right? I wanted to be the medic dude because I was figuring if I get blowed up or something, I want to be able to do my own tourniquets. I don't want to rely on some other dude because sometimes when I've been to combat, the medic, he's afraid to come help you because now there's people shooting and shit, bro. And you're like, oh, medic. The motherfucker's like, fuck that. I'm worried about myself, right? I was like, nah, I want to be able to. So I went to the Presidio San Francisco, and I don't know if you've ever been to California, but they got Northern California, Central, and Southern. So Northern California, dude, it's like foggy and cold. And so when I got to San Francisco, I'm like, hey, where's the hot girls and where's the beaches and where's the volleyball? And it's like, oh, my man, that's in Southern California. That's in LA, my man. I was like, where's LA? And it's like, that's in Southern California. So fortunately for me, I had a homie in the military that's from San Diego, which is down south. So on the weekends, if we didn't have guard duty, we go to LA. So to answer your question, nah, man, it wasn't like I imagined in Northern California, but LA, yeah, LA's like that, big homie. LA is popping, man. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you did get that dream out to some extent then.
Oh, yeah, cool. Man. I met Arnold, Lou Ferrigno, Tom Platz. I smashed a lot of fine-ass women, man, because California women, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you California guys, man. California women are really laid back, man. You know what I mean? If you just got some confidence, man, and you hit them properly, they open to letting you receive all their goodness, man. Whereas back east, you got to be Superman to even get some pussy, man. Them females want you to be a baller and the shot call and all this, having all this. California women's like, if you just cool, you know what I'm saying? So I was just living the life, man.
Right.
Plus I was military dude, you know what I'm saying? I just living the life.
All right. Okay. So you out the military. So you living, I guess you living out in California. Okay. So then what happens? Where does your life go from there?
So this is the problem, man. So the way I got in trouble, we went down to Seaside, California, which is in Central California, and it was like the Wild Wild West. We went to get some crack, and so just so you know, Seaside was predominantly African American, just crack monsters and just drug dealers. And you know, we military dudes, so we got our military haircuts and military uniforms on, trying to buy some crack. And dude tried to jack us, man. He thought he don't know. And this dude's from the military from Chicago, Detroit, New York, LA. You know what I mean? Everybody in the military ain't a soft motherfucker. So he tried to jack us. We was like, hey, man, we want to get an ounce of crack. And this dude, he gave us this package. It wasn't really an ounce. It was smaller than an ounce. And he was like, nah, my man, he threw it in the car. And we was like, oh, man, that's short. He said, man, y'all taking that motherfucking shit. Man, what the fuck you talking about? So it was my homeboy right here, and the other dude in the back seat. Man, dude reached through the window, grabbed my homie's head, and he was pulling out a strap to shoot my homie in the head. But I had my strap in between my legs, homie, because ever since I was a kid, my dad was like, if you got a strap, homie, you carry that motherfucker with the safety off round in the chamber. So I just reached over, I just popped dude, pop, and I guess I hit him in the shoulder. He did a backward flip, man, and we ran off, and then we got the base. That's when they found out we had the crack and everything, right? Okay. But the word on the street was, you know, he's a lying motherfucker. His homies was one of them was like, oh, the military dudes jacked him, you know what I mean? They jacked dude. Now, he later died from complications from the shots, but he didn't die that night. So it was like, oh, they jacked him. So then we get out. It was 3 of us got kicked out of the military. And so we in Seaside, man, we want to buy some more crack cocaine. But then on the one side of town, they're saying we're jackers, which we want. And then on the other side of town, we just crack monsters, right? So, you know, we buying crack cocaine, bro. We got our gate money. And then we smoked up all of our gate money. We smoked it all up like crack, man. You only high for 30 minutes, my man, and you got to get more. So we spent all of our money smoking crack, tossing up, you know, it's called tossing up females. We was tossing up females in the hotel room. So then, man, once we run out of crack, man, we try to buy more crack. And then the word got out, oh, them dudes is jackers. So they didn't want to sell us some crack, bro. So then we just had to take it, my man, because once you're on crack, and I'm not proud of it, and I'm not trying to say I'm Superman, but dude, you're a drug addict, and I wanted some more crack. Word had finally spread. All those dudes is jackers. And we stupid enough walking around with our military jackets on. We stupid. You know, we on crack. And so they didn't want to sell us no more crack. So then we became jackers for real. We just start jacking the drug dealers, man. So that's how the whole problem started, my man, being a drug addict.
Right. Okay. So, all right. So let's fast forward, and then you doing what you have to do to maintain your habit. So at some point things go wrong, and you find yourself like arrested in the county jail. So take me through that experience. You not being a gang, but being from the streets, but not being a gang affiliated. Having a military lifestyle. What's your world like walking that county jail first time?
All right. So before you get there, I gotta catch you up. So.
Oh, okay.
We jacked like 3 or 4 dope dealers, man. We took so much dope though. Now we was able to sell it and maintain our habits. So now we become drug dealers. We were jackers first, but now we drug dealers. And so just because of our military discipline, I told my homies, I was a sergeant in the military. I told my homies who was beneath me, I said, hey, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean up and we're gonna have a job during the day and we're gonna sell crack at night. And that was the goal. And we still worked down there. We were functional crack addicts. So with that kind of a discipline, we end up having 3 trap houses, 2 apartments, man, just a bunch of cars. And then the young homies was on the corner selling crack, start working for us because we had the weight, homie. I had connections with the fucking, I don't want to say no names, but because I'm Hispanic, I had some connections with the cartel and all that because I rose up fast because I'm disciplined, right? So here's what happened, man. I used to get these single moms. I was selling real estate. And I would get them I would do the loan for them to get the house in their name, but I'm really paying the mortgage, right? So then, man, the house was popping so much because dudes would come in the front door and buy crack, and then they go in the back and smoke it. And then when they start fighting, we kick them out. But it's popping so much, it was hot, and so the house got raided. The single mom turned me in. Oh, it's really OG Silverback. He's the one running this house. And then the real estate commission looked at, oh, he sold these other 2 houses, so there's just rampantly. They just start busting my houses, my man. I ran up to Washington to get away. I took a dude's car who owed me some money because I gave him some crack. He smoked it. I took his car. He reported it stolen. When I come back down to Central California, the CHP pulled me over for a stolen vehicle. And then when I went in the glove compartment to give him my driver registration, I had a pistol in there, right? So then they got me for grand theft auto, possession of a firearm, and then when you get arrested, they linked up all the houses like, oh, he's got these trap houses. So now I'm in the county jail. So here's the problem. When I get to the county jail, the stories of the dudes that I was a jacker, they got homies, man. Then the one dude I shot, he died, right? But the police didn't know I did it, but his homies knew I did it. So I'm in the county jail. They're like, yeah, my man, you ain't got on weapons now, motherfucker. And I ain't even from there. So that's when I first had the legend of OG Silverback because dudes was trying to like retaliate for when I shot their homie. And they didn't know I had martial arts training. So I'm just breaking them off, put in a hole. You know what I'm trying to say? Just building my reputation in the county jail was like war zone, but it was preparing me for prison because I ain't getting back out because all the shit's catching up with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was just madness in the county jail because I'm not from there. Back then they had Crips and Bloods and Serenos and I ain't none of that. And I'm mixed. I'm an other. So I ain't really have no car. I ain't have no car to protect me. You know what I mean? Plus I shot the dude. So it's just fucked up is what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm retarded. It was fucked up, man.
All right. So take me through that. So it's like, so you put in sort of the guys' homies come at you, you do what you have to do, you dust them off. So did you have to keep fighting after that? Or did other people, like other cars, see, okay, he's an independent guy, we're gonna try and make him join us? What was your like day-to-day like?
See, that's interesting. So we got to go from the county jail. So in the county jail, I fought some time. They put me in the segregated housing. So then I get my sentencing. I'm on the bus going to the pen. So then the reason I had to fight a lot because back then, I'm just being honest, dudes didn't believe martial arts work. So they're like, damn, what the fuck did he do? That's crazy shit. Oh, well, he beat up Bob, but he can't beat PNG. Hey, PNG, get that nigga. And you come and I put it on you because people ain't believing, right? So I get to fucking San Quentin, which is reception. And then the motherfuckers is like, they don't believe that shit work. And then I shot the dude, their homies and all that. I get there. Then the dude is like, oh, man, they try to stab me in my neck. So then I took the knife, fucking got that dude. And so what happened is up north, man, when you go to San Quentin, it's all northern dudes. So they like, hey, where you from, homie? I couldn't ride with the Seaside car because I shot all them dudes in Seaside, right? So then I can't ride with the up north dudes because I'm a other. You know, until now they got the up north blacks. Dude, I ain't gonna disrespect my dad and be like, hey, I'm black, even though I look black, I'm mixed. I can't ride with Hispanics because my mom's West Indian. So they got this thing called the other, and no disrespect to anybody, man. My experience was the others was little bitch boys. It was just a bunch of scared mixed dudes that formed their own little gang to feel safe. I didn't need to feel safe, man. They gave me so much time, homie. They gave me 26 years, and I was 29 years old. I'm like, I didn't know about good time. No, I'm saying 26, 29 plus 26. Hey, man, I'm be an old motherfucker. So I was like, it's basically like I had life in there. So I was like, fuck it. I'm going to be the alpha. So to answer your question, no, it's fucked up because I didn't have no car. I didn't have nobody to, you know what I'm saying? And then the people that's trying to recruit me, you know, like the northern dudes, like the BGF or whatever, it was never the Crips or the Bloods because they knew I wasn't a gang member, but like they had this thing called the Black Guerrilla Family. Then they had the Northern Brothers. It was like just dudes from up north, and they weren't necessarily a gang, but they from up north. So in prison, you got to ride with your people. So they just kind of form their own thing. But I'm not a brother, right? I'm just being honest. So I ain't going to say I'm a brother if I'm not a brother. I mean, even though I look like a brother, I'm part black. I ain't going to say I'm a brother, right? So they trying to recruit me. I'm like, no, I'm cool, homie. And so the fact that I was by myself, that made me a target because when you go to the pen, they be like, because like say you go to the pen, right? And you go to Chicago, there's going to be some people, you know, that's the homie PNG. Hey, homie, ride with us, man. You know, ride with the Chicago. Yeah. Okay, cool. Because, you know, that's how you build. You be like, cool, but I ain't even from here. So they like, hey, homie, ride with us. I'm like, nah, I ain't ride with nobody. So then it's like, oh, that dude's unaffiliated. Make that nigga pay rent. You know what I mean? He by himself. So then that's when they try to make me pay rent and extort me and shit like that, bro.
Okay. All right. So I can hear, okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, so you were what's considered a lone wolf, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I can hear it. I want to ask you this. Not that I doubt you. Now I believe 100%, but I can hear it in my comments now. Man, can't nobody in California be a lone wolf. You can't. You got to rap with the whites, the blacks, the Crips. You got to rap with somebody. I can hear it in the comments now. So being a lone wolf, I mean, and you did like how many years?
Well, they gave me 26, and then I went back to court on appeal, and then he dropped it down to 11 and a half. I did 10 years flat off of fucking 11 and a half because I was in the hole so much. I want to address your, you know, what you said, your comment, people, whatever. And I just want to tell you like this, bro. Everybody can't do what I did, homie. This is the way it is. I mean, you know, I understand. But you got to understand something, PNG. First of all, man, I'm not from this country. You've been in Jamaica, homie. You know, if you've been in Jamaica, you was traveling, you know, Jamaica's hard, homie. They got some hard shit over there, bro. And when Jamaicans coming over here, they beast. So I ain't from this country. I ain't no fucking pussy, man. I'm a warrior, man. Then from the time I was a kid, I've been doing martial arts traditional. Plus, let me be honest with you, my man. When I was growing up back east in the 60s, they had this thing called the Black Power movement, which I'm all for. But they were saying black is beautiful, this and that. So black back then was a dark-skinned dude. If you from back east, and they know, if you was a light-skinned dude, you was considered a bitch. And so, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican and West Indian. I'm light-skinned dude, but I ain't no American light-skinned. I ain't no fucking bitch. So I grew up dark-skinned dudes always wanting to test my metal, homie. Always, since I was a kid. So I'm taking traditional martial arts, and I'm street fighting, dude, and I'm playing sports, and I've been in and out of YA, and I've been in the military. So, man, when I get to the pen, homie, he's like, you motherfuckers want to get out, man? I love this shit. So I'm just saying, to answer your detractors, everybody can't do it. That's why I'm OG Silverback, my man. I got training. I was born to do this shit, and I'm not bragging. All I'm saying is, when they go to I would hope none of your people that listen go to pen. I pray don't go to pen because it's hell. If you make the mistake to go, don't be like me. Ride with your people. If you mix and you got to make up a story that you black, ride with your people. If you white, ride with your people. Everybody and me. I couldn't ride with my people, homie, because first of all, I ain't even from here. Secondly, bro, I don't trust nobody in prison. Let me tell you something, my man. I'm glad you brought it up. This is my story. There's a cost. If you're not a gang member, when you go to prison and then you ride with a car, there's a cost to be paid, my man, because you ain't even from there. You ain't even from that car. Them dudes is from that car. So then they bring you in. They doing you a favor. So therefore you owe them some favors. I ain't trying to owe no motherfucker nothing, man. I ain't trying to owe no motherfucker favor for nothing, man. So I just ride my own, homie. I ain't trying to have a motherfucker tell me nothing. So if they want to argue those facts, then God help him, man, because I just know what I did, and I'm here on the street telling my story. Right. And one thing for sure, you go to my channel, you go to Fresh Out, whoever interviewed me, ain't one dude from prison debunking me, homie, because them motherfuckers know how I get out.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So when it was chow time, like where would you eat? Like, who would you sit with? What bench would you use to work out on? Because I know, if I'm correct, everything is segregated. So how did you fit in?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. I like the way you got those formulated. So first of all, when I was in San Quentin reception, bro, I was on the 5th tier. I was up there with lifers and dude that had a lot of time. So in reception, the police tell you where to sit, bro. They march you in, you go in the formation line, like they open your cell, you stay in line, homie. Ain't none of this with your homie stuff. When you get in the chow hall, they fill up the seats like this. The police tell you where to sit. Whoever you behind, if it's a white dude, Mexican, the police telling you where to sit. It ain't like the movies. And I don't know. I can't speak for other people. That's reception. When I got to level 4 maximum security, it's the same fucking thing, man. The police was telling us where to fucking sit, all that stuff. And I only was at level 4, man, for like I think like a year or two, because I went to the hole twice for a long time. Then I went back to Court of Appeal. They dropped my points. I went to level 3. So then when I got to level 3, my man, it was the same thing, bro. Like the police, man, look, dude, you got maximum security felons. This ain't like, no, when I got to level 2 and shit, you get to sit where you want to sit and all that, right? Mm-hmm. But this is what happened, man. When I got down to level 2, the northern dudes already knew my narrative, like I wasn't to be fucked with. So I could sit wherever the fuck I want to sit, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can sit wherever, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I can't sit with no white boys, and I can't sit with no southern Mexicans. But if there was like some northern Mexicans or some others or some blacks, I could sit there with them, and ain't nobody telling me I can't sit there, dude, because they already heard the stories. Hey, man, prison people talk. That's a stupid motherfucker. Let him do his program. So I just sat wherever it was appropriate for my nationality. So I could sit with the others, or I could sit with the blacks, or I could sit with the northern Mexicans, but I couldn't sit with the whites or whatever. So wherever there was an open seat, I just sat there. To answer your question about the bench thing and all that, when I was at New Folsom, I didn't get to work out because there was a war between the Crips and the Bloods and the Southern Mexicans and the Blacks. So we was on lockdown, plus the fights I got in. I was in the shoe. So by the time I never hit the weight pile at New Folsom. When I got to Mule Creek, that's where I told a story on my channel. The Crips told me I couldn't use the bench, and I broke the dude off on the weight pile because, dude, I was on the weight pile. I saw Mexicans. I ain't stupid. I saw Mexicans working out here. I saw whites working out there. I saw some blacks working out there. There was an open bench. And I guess the Crips had like a meeting or something. But it was their slot. Like in prison, they got time slots for where you work out. So I saw an open bench, and I went over there. And the Crips dude was like, hey, cuz, you can't work out on this bench. I was like, I thought it was like the gym. I was like, motherfucker, it's open. I'm working out. And he's like, no, cuz, it don't work like that, cuz. You're going to get up off the bench and we smoke your bitch ass. And I was on the weight pile, got up, broke the dudes off. And when they was taking me to the hole, I yelled out to everybody, if I can't work out in this motherfucker, ain't nobody working out. And back when they had the weights, PNG, the weights is like your sacred place. Like prisoners look so forward to working out that while I was in the hole, the Northern brothers decided when I come out of the hole, they said, hey, my man. I was like, what's up, motherfucker? They's like, hey, no, it ain't like that, my man. You can work out with us, homie. You could just, because you from up north. I say, I don't give a fuck. They said, no, my man, just to keep the peace, homie. You ain't got to join nothing, but you could just work out. This is the northern bench for you from up north, nigga. Just work out there. You ain't got to join nothing just to keep the peace going, because I don't give a fuck. If I can't work out, homie, fuck it. I ain't doing all this time being a little skinny, wimpy bitch boy in my cell jerking off. If I can't lift weights, can't nobody lift weights. So that's how that happened. The northern dudes just let me work out there. But then when I got to level 2 and 3, it was cool. The Crips dudes would let me work out with them and shit, homie. The Blood dudes, because they heard my stories. And they was just like, oh, dude's cool. And I was strong too, homie. Like I was winning all the weightlifting competitions. So the young dudes, like the Crips and Bloods and shit, was like, oh, how this motherfucker so strong? The only way they can find out is to let me work out with them. So then when they see how I work out, they was like, so that's how that worked out, my man.
Okay, that's fascinating. Okay, so all right, so you're doing your 10 years. Like at what point, or at any point, I mean, did you start saying, okay, I got me a release date sometime in the future? Like when did you start transforming yourself, saying like, okay, this prison shit ain't what's happening? Like, did you start taking your time, start reading books and all that type of stuff? Like, tell me a little bit more about like just the prison years.
Well, like when I was at level 4, I thought it was, I just thought it was like, I don't know, I felt like a lifer, so I didn't give a shit. I was just,
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I was kind of scared and I was kind of angry, so I was just a beast mode dude. I just didn't give a shit. But then when I went back to court and I understood about halftime, like, oh, if you do a good program, you do half your time. So then I was like, oh, I can get out. So I got to level 3. And you know, the problem I had, PNG, was when I first hit a yard, I got to establish who I am because I'm unaffiliated. So yeah, every time I got transferred to a new prison, I had to break some silly motherfucker off. But then when I'm in the hole, I'm already knowing, okay, when I got out the hole, I already broke that dude off, so I ain't got to fight no more. So then I just started really getting into programs like Narcotics Anonymous, and I took a theology class, and I just started studying books and reading because I'll be honest with you, it wasn't necessarily to prepare for the street. It was to keep my head straight because, and I just want to be honest with you, my man. I want everybody to know when I was in level 3, bro, I spent most of my time at level 3. I didn't go to the day room. I stayed in my cell, homie. No, most of the time I didn't have a cellie. Like sometimes I get a cellie, like for example, because I'm an other, they might put a white dude in there, and then a white dude, they can't bunk with me, so then they put in for a cell change. So then it'll be a while before I got another cellie, or maybe a Southern Mexican will come in there, and he'd be like, oh, I can't bunk with dude. He put in for a cell change, or maybe a crip will come in there, or a blood, and I ain't affiliated. So there's a lot of time I was by myself, so I just stay in my cell. People be out in the day room playing spades or poker. I don't know what the fuck they did. I was just in my cell, just reading. I was taking a theology course, studying different religions, just doing my martial arts, just working out, bro. Because that's what kept me sane, bro. I didn't watch TV my whole fucking 10 years. I just did that because I knew I wanted to get my points down is what I'm saying. I didn't want to hang out with all the drama. So then when I got my points down to level 2, hit the yard, broke a dude off just to establish who I was. Then at level 2, they had stuff like auto mechanics, welding, meat cutting. I just took all the different things just to have a program, you know what I mean? And level 2 is like these pods. It's not dorm living, but it's like a pod where they got these bunks in these different sections, right, walled off. So I just kind of, you know what I mean? I met some cool dudes that I knew from, we was from the same area, Seaside, California, and they was gang members. And they was like, hey, OG, how come you don't fuck with nobody? I said, hey, homie, because I'm like, I want to change my life. I'm getting ready for the street. I'm not saying I converted gang members, but some of them was like, I don't want to be a gang member no more either. So they was fucking with me and like reading books. Or I was teaching them martial arts. So I started preparing for the street then at level 2 because I saw there was light at the end of the tunnel. So to answer your question, I took every trade they gave me, bro. I went to Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. I took all religious services, bro. And they called me the monk. All I did was go to services and my job and worked out. I didn't ever hang out with people, none of that shit, homie. None of that. I didn't socialize with nobody.
All right. Okay, so cool. All right. So 10 years go by, you hit the street. Now it's been 10 years solid. Like you said, you didn't watch TV. So what was the world like for you? I mean, how much had it changed from the time you went in?
Well, my last year when I was at Chino, California, and the reason I went to Chino, I met some dudes at level 3 that was Dr. Dre's bodyguards, was in there for life. And they see me breaking dudes off, and we start talking on a bodyguard level because I used to be a bodyguard. And so I talked to Dr. Dre on the phone, and he told me, man, when I get out, come see him. So I went down to Chino level 1, and I was going to parole to LA, man, even though I'm from up north. And so, man, my last year at Chino, I was watching TV because I was trying to get my Spanish back. I was just trying to see how the world had changed, you know, looking at women with fat asses. But it didn't prepare me because when I got out, bro, the world was like totally different. I forgot how to catch the bus. I forgot how to do all kind of shit. So I hit downtown LA. I took my gate money and I got a room. And when I called my parole officer, he told me to get my ass back up north, man. So I had to get on the Greyhound bus. I hadn't been on the bus in forever. Got on the bus, get back up north. And then I had to report there. I was homeless. I was in the homeless shelter, bro. I didn't know how to fucking catch the bus, nothing. My parole officer ain't give me no money. So I was doing this thing called day labor. I would catch the bus. I learned how to catch the bus. And I would do these day labor jobs. You get paid every day. And I just started saving my money up and going to church. I was still going to church. I wasn't messing with women. And then I just started like getting hotel rooms, and I started living in boarding houses, and I just stayed focused. So then I ran into one of my homies that I was in the military with. He went to prison too, and he got out. He was in the computers, right? So when I was doing day labor, I ran into my homie. I was like, hey, man, I'm tired of this day labor shit, homie. Like, what you doing? He's like, oh, I'm doing computer stuff, man. I was like, damn, I wish I knew that shit. He said, oh, no, man. He said, you just got out. Go to the community college. They got a thing called a Pell Grant, and then it pays for your school and your books, homie. And then you a swole dude, you can be a personal trainer, my man, and I'll come help you study computers. And so that's what I did. I just went to college on the Pell Grant. I was working as a personal trainer, no more day labor. And my homie was helping me study computers. And then my whole life changed, big homie. My whole life, like, just blossomed up. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So I mean, that's fascinating because I know the recidivism rate is so high. Like this comedian here in Chicago, he always tells this joke that when he was in prison, he's seen more people coming back to prison than he did for the first time. So it's really amazing that you was able to make that transformation during 10 years. You was able to get to where you are now. So I guess so if a guy's coming out, like what would you say to somebody coming out, who had walked a similar path to you and they having a hard time adjusting society? Like what would you tell them?
All right, my man, you might not like this or your viewers might like, but you asked me, so I'm gonna tell you the first thing, man, you got to do like I tried to do. I tried to get parole to a different spot because I had dudes I had shot. I didn't want no problems. My family left me. I was homeless, so I wanted to go somewhere where people would help me. So what I would tell them is if you're getting out, try to parole to a drug treatment program that's not in your neighborhood. Like, first of all, try to go to a different, that's number one, if you can. Number two, let's say you can't do that. So when you go to where you're going, man, just let everybody know, man, you're trying to get your life together and go to school. Like the first thing you should do is get a Pell Grant, homie. There's federal money, dude. They pay for your books, school. Then you have spending money, dude. I had spending money, homie. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and go to college, man. Get really tight with the professors and shit. The counselors tell them, hey, I'm trying to change my life around. Even if you're not a drug addict, go to Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, go to like anger management, go to all these programs that try to show people you're trying to change. And if you back in your hood, just tell your homies, be like, hey man, check this out, homie. I did all this time. Just let me get acclimated to the street. Look, you're just making an excuse. You blowing smoke up their culo. You be like, hey, just give me some time to get acclimated to the street, Holmes. But really what you're doing is waiting to get off parole so you can move your ass to someone. Because as long as you go back to your hood, homie, I'm just being honest from what I've seen, you're going to get caught back up in the bullshit. Because when I went back to Central California, there was some youngsters used to work with me. Now they OGs. And like, hey, OG, we like your style. And then the cartel was like, hey, you didn't tell on anybody, Holmes. Here, take this kilo, man, and take these guns. You be right. I said, nah, man. And if you ever offer me that shit again, I'll rip your motherfucking head off. And they was like, oh, my man, you just penitentiary scared. I was like, you damn right. Hey, let me tell you something, PNG. The reason I ain't go back, I ain't built for that, being around some funky, stinky-ass motherfucking homosexual-ass motherfuckers. I love women, homie. I love being able to get in my car. I love nice things, big homie. I like being able to come and go. I don't want to be in no 6x6 box telling war stories. So I was like, I ain't built for this, man. The motherfucker's built for that. God bless you. So that's why I didn't want to go back. I'm like, fuck that. And I took the path of getting people that would help me to do right. So that's all I would say to your viewers. Only fuck with people that's throwing positive shit. Even if it's your family that ain't doing, cut them motherfuckers loose, man.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay, so we get about 7 minutes left. So I kind of want to talk about, so what's in the future? Well, I know you mentioned that you do a little bit of like personal training, stuff like that. So what's the future for OG Silverback? What you got on the burner?
Hey, well, let me be honest with you in these 7 minutes, man. So I was doing IT work, man, which means information technology. I did that for 20 years when I got out the pen, you know what I mean? And then these trolls on YouTube found out my real name, because my real name ain't OG Silverback. And they found my arrest record, posted on Facebook, Instagram. So I lost all my IT jobs because now they know I'm a felon, right? But it's all good, baby, because I do martial arts, bro. I do financial coaching. I do personal coaching. So what's in the future for me, my man? I send everybody over my Patreon OG Silverback, bro. I got prison fighting combatives. And it's not just about fighting, my man. It's about having the mentality of a warrior. Like, you got to know when to fight and when not to fight. You got to know how to look at situations and avoid them. It's the psychology. I do life coaching for dudes. I do personal training for dudes because, dude, without your health, homie, you ain't got shit. I don't care how much martial arts, if you ain't eating clean, you ain't drinking water, bro, you ain't taking in some holy stuff. And I'm not trying to convert anybody to religion, But if you think, man, there's nothing higher than you, something's wrong with you, homie, because you got a spirit. You got to feed it. So what I'm doing now, man, I'm doing martial arts, personal training, and life coaching. I'm into stocks and investments, man. I'm into life insurance and financial services, my man. And I'm selling my own supplements. So that's what I'm doing. I'm looking to have a whole man who is what I call a warrior scholar, man. You fit into society as a cosmopolitan dude, but then in private, you would get in touch with your inner warrior, your inner animal, so you can protect your loved ones, man, and protect the people you care about. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Is a book in the future? Because you got one heck of a story that I'm sure a lot of
Yeah,
people.
I'm working on the book, man. But I talked to 3 different book publishers, my man, and they said that what I got to do is 8 hours a day. I got to be writing like stuff for the book, right? But I'm too busy right now. So probably next year, you know what I'm saying? Once all my martial arts stuff launch and all that, and my stocks pay off, I'm gonna do the book thing. But right now, homie, I'm just helping young dudes. And I gotta tell you something, PNG. I'm so impressed with you, my man. You just really, man, impressed me, because for a young dude, you got your head on straight. I don't know how you got to there, but it's really impressive. And I'd like you to be a role model to young men too, man, to want to travel and read books and educate yourself and do martial arts. I'm proud to know you, my man.
Oh, thanks, brother. Same here, definitely. Like I said, I really enjoyed this, you know. So if somebody wants to get in contact with you about like financial services, is all that through your Patreon?
So I'm on Patreon, man, because the whole thing, this is what I tell cats. They hit me up, cats be like, hey, OG Silverback, I want to get into stocks. I want to get into financial service. I want to get like, check this out. No offense, PNG. I tell everybody like this, man. If you ain't going to my Patreon studying martial arts, we ain't got nothing to talk about, because martial arts is the foundation to life, youngsters. Martial arts teaches you discipline, self-love, teach you to set goals. Then from there, we can talk about financial service. But if you ain't trying to be a warrior, ain't nothing to talk about with me. Go find some other dude, sell you a pipe dream. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So last question as we wind down, because I know people are going to ask this in my comments. I see you working with knives. Like, what's that about? Like, is that part of your martial arts training as well, or what type of blades are those?
No, but I got to tell you something, man. All my life, I've been a student of martial arts, and I was very fortunate. A couple of years ago, I found this Filipino master that teaches Filipino knife fighting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So these are actually military combative knives, but he teaches me to use them like the Filipino warriors in the jungle. It's a different type of fighting, bro. And so it's rounding out my martial arts. And I'm also studying with a guy that does Jeet Kune Do. So I just want to just be an overall dude, because the reason being, I want to feel so confident that when I'm in a situation, I don't have to fight. Because if you're not confident, you feel like you got to prove something. I want to be so confident with my skills, with my knife fighting skills and my martial arts. When I'm in a situation where somebody's trying to aggress me, I suggest you watch the last video I just put up. I'm not going to fight, because I'm knowing, dude, there's no glory in me as a warrior taking out a person that's not a warrior, man. I just want to give you some love.
Okay. Well, I guess on that note, we can end it there. Like I said, I want to thank you for taking time out your busy day to spend this hour with me. This is very informative. I really enjoyed this. When your book ready, I'm gonna have you back when the book's out, promoted on my channel. So everybody go check out OG Silverback. He got check out his Patreon, check out his YouTube channel. He got a lot of good war stories and just a lot of good content, period. So check him out. And anything you want to say in closing, OG?
No, man, I'm really glad to meet you, my man. And I look forward to talking with you in the future, my man.
All right. Well, there you have it. That's another one for the books. All right, brother. Thanks. And thanks for everybody who tuned in. Remember, OG Silverback channel. Check the brother out.